Okay. To formally start today's proceedings, we would like to invite on stage, and I would like your support by giving a big round of applause to our chief guests, guests of honor, and the star of the evening. May I request respectable Khalid Mirza Sahab, chief guest for today's evening, to please come on stage. May I request Mr. Ahmed Chinoy, please, to come on to the stage? Thank you. Professor Dr. Rukhsar Ahmed. Ms. Hina Usmani, can I ask you to come on the stage, please? Thank you, Hina. Dr. Huma Sudheer, thank you so much for coming. And last but not the least, the star of the evening, Syeda Rubab Aali. Thank you. Okay, so a formal, brief introduction of our young author to the book Social Equity. She is an inspiration for many, I'm sure. Syeda Rubab Aali is a 15-year-old beautiful soul who in her book shares, I'm just another 15-year-old navigating life, finding my passion and meanwhile trying to do some good in this world. I'm sure all of you like me are overwhelmed. Syeda Rubab has spent her thoughts and research on a very unique and sensitive topic of social equity. The book discusses the concept of equity and educates the reader how it has developed over the years. In the literature review, the most relevant researches of other scholars are also presented. The book spans over 9 chapters, addressing several aspects of social equity, from economics to environment, legal and judicial, employment opportunities and compensation, education, and gender equity. The last chapter, which I find the most interesting, it elaborates on the Islamic aspects of social equity. Just for everybody's information, the book, if you would like to purchase it today, it's available on a 20% discount right outside the hall, and it is also available online on Amazon and all the Liberty bookstores around. Okay. I would now like to invite one of my guests of honor. What I'll do is I'll start off with Iram Sabah. Iram Sabah was supposed to join us today. There was an unfortunate incident in her family. Her father passed away just recently, so that's why she is not in today. There's another sad news that Rubab's grandfather and Rizwan, his father, also passed away last Friday. So what we can do is, for a few moments, we can pray for the departed souls. I know introducing my guests of honor today and my chief guest, I mean, I will be introducing them one by one, but I know for a fact that they do not need any introduction. However, just for all of us to know how big and how important and how honored we are today, I would start off with sharing a few, these words will not do justice, but then still, I will say a few words about Honorable Dr. Iram Sabah, who's an associate professor at IBA. She is the world's 17th most influential woman in the Islamic business and finance, as per the Cambridge Institute of Islamic Finance 2020. She's the board member of Malaysian, Pakistan, and Maldivian companies. She's also a member of the Federation of FPCCI Standing Committee on Islamic Banking 2021, Grand Counselor, Chartered Institute of Islamic Finance Professionals, Malaysia, Program Director, MS Islamic Banking and Finance, IBA Karachi, Women on Board Distinction and Award holder for Leading Women in Islamic Finance 2017, Maldives, Women on Board Distinction and Award holder for Best Young Women Professional 2016, Maldives, Sub-Editor of Journal of Islamic Finance Accountancy, AOFI Bahrain, Vice President Asia Pacific Applied Economics Association, Australia. She's not present, but I think we can give her a round of applause because she tried her best to be here. Our next guest of honor is Barrister Dr. Huma Sudheer. She, like Iram Sabah, does not need an introduction, but Dr. Huma is a highly accomplished individual possessing over 20 years of expertise in legal and finance matters relating to policy making, governance, financial crimes, technology, and artificial intelligence, litigation investigation, legal and regulatory risk management, C-suite advisory, cross-cultural talent development, research and training experience, and EMEA, CIS, APAC, excuse me if I'm pronouncing them incorrectly, and North American regions in leadership roles, including Barrister, United Kingdom, former Judge Pakistan, former Fellow Harvard Law School, Visiting Research Fellow ISRA, Member Editorial Board, International Law Journal on Artificial Intelligence and Robotics, Trainer, Judicial Academy, Pakistan, Director, Technical Development, AOFI Bahrain, Assurance and Business Advisory, PwC, Banking and Capital Markets. Dr. Huma has worked with leading Queen's Counsel barrister, forensic experts, and senior partners of law firms on high-profile, complex, multi-billion-dollar fraud cases. She has developed governance, accounting, and auditing standards with AOFI board members. I hope I'm not missing out anything. She's also a recipient of many gold medals and international and national fellowships, scholarships, and research grants. I am personally honored to be standing here to invite her over the podium to say a few words. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First of all, thank you, Farah, for your kind words. I would have to say that, and particularly for such a generous introduction. So whatsoever I'm here, just like the way Rubab has dedicated her book to her parents. So whatsoever I'm here, it's definitely I dedicated to my parents, my grandparents, my teachers, my mentors, and my seniors. As you have already identified and pointed out, so somehow I wear two hats. I'm a lawyer. I'm also a qualified chartered accountant. And I'm so pleased and I'm so honored to be sitting with such a group of stellar scholars and personalities, such as Professor Khalid, Hina Osmani, Dr. Rukhsar, and Chennai Saab. So that's an honor for me, and definitely not to forget Dr. Iram Sabah. So Dr. Iram and Fakhra and me, I think three of us, we look up to, and we have in various capacities and in various roles somehow have received inspiration from you. Now, coming back to the book, honestly speaking, when Fakhra I'm sure you would excuse me because I'm just addressing you as a friend, Fakra, so definitely Dr. Fakra. And Dr. Fakra, she actually called me and she told me about this book. We have had a few discussions on and off about Rubab. And, when she said she has written something, so that was not a surprise to me. Because the kind of things Fakra has shared about Rubab with me first, and also she is in a home where she is being brought up by parents like Rizwan Sahab and Dr. Fakra, so it was bound to happen. It was bound to happen that you were raising a star in your home. So now, going back to the topic and to the book, I think this is a topic on which you can find plenty of literature, books, and articles and whatnot. But the best part, which has actually touched my heart, that such a sensitive issue, right? A book on such a sensitive issue has been authored by a teenager of such a tender age. So I was actually, yes. I mean, to feel these kind of things and definitely undertake such a research. So I was actually, once again, I was speaking with Rubab, and I actually asked her that this is too sensitive, and this topic is something I think being an adult, if I would like to write or if would like to feel some of it, so it takes a toll, emotional toll. So then I asked her, how do you process your feelings? So she said she has another outlet. She, I think, writes some poetry as well. So yes, there are so many chapters, and particularly she has wonderfully covered various aspects of social equity in this book. And we have experts and stellar personalities who will share their thoughts on it. So for instance, if I just talk about this chapter number 6, which is equity in employment opportunities and compensation, right? So this is something where on chapter 6, so this is page 42. So yeah, so here she's talking about disabled persons, minority, females, women participation, and underprivileged class participation. And she has covered it from the legal and regulatory perspective. She has quoted formidable scholars on the subject. And she has also tried to cover and encapsulate the local applicable regulatory environment. For instance, she actually quotes Disabled Persons Employment and Rehabilitation Ordinance 1981. So this is, as I said, so the moment you read it, even if you look at the table of index, I think it makes me feel, it makes me very emotional that, once again, Rubab has written it. If maybe this book was authored by by an adult, by any of us, then I think maybe we would have talked about some other things as well. So anyways, because this is an interesting topic, and particularly when we're talking about disabled persons, I would like to share a very small piece of my life relating to this disability. So it appears that it has been a long time. So when I was completing my chartered accountancy, right? And so there was a time, so after certain stages, when we qualify certain exams, then we apply for articleship, which is a 4 years rigorous, or 3.5 years rigorous training experience, which we are required, that training we are required to complete. And just before that, I met a serious accident, right? So it was a fracture, and I couldn't walk. So I actually suffered with temporary disability. So I used to walk with a walking frame, right? And so it was a leading firm now at Institute of Chartered Accountants of Pakistan. It is so, I'm so pleased to see that that yes, things have changed drastically. But in those times, so there were 10 steps there, I think 10 or 12. And I was like invited, so that's the top audit firm. I really wanted to be there. But now I'm with this walking frame, looking at those stairs and thinking like, gosh, what should I do now? And then comes a figure, my father. So he gave me assurance. Yes, it was a temporary disability, right? You're no less than others. Don't think of your walking frame or anything like that. They supported me, my parents, right? And because I was too embarrassed that people are looking at me and then how you're helping me, and it's like awkward to climb these stairs. But that assurance, yes, I mean, I didn't inform the partners of those firms. I need to give a disclaimer here. So it was not their fault. It was me being very enthusiastic, and suddenly this enthusiasm was down when I looked at stairs. So what I mean to say here is that kind of assurance which my father gave me on those steps, that yes, it's just a fracture. Within few months, you won't even remember it. Whatsoever it is, it's a temporary disability. You are no less than others. That kind of assurance, as a society, we need to provide to whom? To, for instance, women. To whom? To, for instance, underprivileged class people. To whom? For example, the minority people. This is something, for example, disabled people. That kind of assurance is needed, because that assurance which was given by my parents to me on those steps, I remember it when I qualified as a chartered accountant and I got a gold medal and I was climbing those few steps. I remembered it when I actually stepped at Harvard Law School and I was climbing those stairs. I remembered it when I actually qualified as a barrister. So just those few words, I mean, just that feeling of inclusiveness, right? This is really important. And I really like it, the way she compares, and she says something about there's a difference between social equality and social equity. So those people who are underprivileged, they don't need equal treatment, right? I mean, if you provide all those equal opportunities to everyone, so for example, me having such supportive parents, and for example, someone else, right? Another lady, another woman, another girl, maybe in a village, having no support from the family, from the community. If you provide equal opportunity to me and her, it's not fair. So yes, I agree with you, Rubab, on this. And your work is a drop. It might appear as a drop in ocean, but mind you, each drop, it matters, because eventually it forms an ocean. And I would like to dedicate, and it's in front of such a stellar audience, and particularly Fakhra, who is also a poetess, I am so, like, it's difficult to say it, a verse. So for Rubab, हम वो वक्त की धूप हमें जज्ब न कर पाएगी, वक्त की धूप हमें जज्ब न कर पाएगी, हम वो जर्रा हैं जो सूरज को निगल जाते हैं. Thank you.